Hello, this is Ron Paul with your update for December 13th. Since the announcement last week that I will chair the congressional subcommittee that oversees the Federal Reserve, the media response has been overwhelming. The groundswell of opposition to Fed actions among ordinary citizens is reflected not only in the rhetoric coming out of Capitol Hill, but also in the tremendous interest shown by the financial press. The demand for transparency is growing, whether the political and financial establishment likes it or not. The Fed is losing its vaunted status as an institution that is somehow above politics and public scrutiny. Fed transparency will be the cornerstone of my efforts as subcommittee chairman. Thanks to public pressure earlier this year, Congress did pass legislation that requires the Fed to disclose some information about its bailout of select industries and companies following the 2008 financial crisis. So 2 weeks ago, the Fed released data concerning more than $3 trillion worth of assistance it offered to banks through its bailout facilities. After reviewing this data, however, we are left with many more questions about the Fed's lending. In the Term Securities Lending Facility, the Fed was supposed to have loaned against AAA-rated securities. Yet over half of the collateral put up by banks to obtain loans had no listed credit rating. Should we assume that the Fed accepted absolute junk-related securities as collateral for loans? Presumably, these securities were so bad that they wouldn't even publicize their credit rating. So why should our central bank, backed up by your taxes, accept such collateral? On another note, of the $1.25 trillion purchased by the Fed's mortgage-backed securities purchase program, only $877 billion in purchases have been publicized. What happened to the remaining $400 billion? These kinds of limited disclosures by the Fed only underscore the need for a full and complete audit of the Fed's financial books. This audit should be done by an independent third party in the same manner that public companies are audited. The Fed should make public its balance sheet, income statement, and perhaps most importantly, its cash flow statement. It also should publicize the notes explaining those financial statements. We seem to forget sometimes that Congress created the Fed. It is a government-created banking monopoly, and its top decision makers are appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate. If the Fed does not perform satisfactorily in the eyes of these politicians and their constituents, the chairman and governors may not be renominated. In theory, Congress, since it has the authority to do so, could even go so far as to repeal the Federal Reserve Act altogether. Obviously, Congress is within its authority to audit an organization it created by statute, and it's time it assumed this responsibility. With 320 members of Congress co-sponsoring my legislation to fully audit the Fed in the 111th Congress, my hope is that we can build on our broad bipartisan coalition in 2011 and continue the push for greater Fed transparency going forward. Thanks for calling. A new update is recorded at 888-322-1414 every Monday morning. And a written text can be found on my website at www.house.gov/Paul under the heading Texas Straight Talk. Thanks for calling.